Right, so it's been a while. A lot has happened. The market is always pretty volatile. In short, the dollar has gone up a lot. The euro has gone down in particular. Take a look at euro US dollar. Yields have gone up, but not as much as the dollar. Short-term yields also look stronger than long-term yields. The market's just gone up non-stop. For me now, it's just obvious that I think to everyone, it should be that it's just pure inflation being priced into the markets non-stop. So those days of shorting the market, not unless you think there's going to be real deflation. For gold, incredible bounce. Silver, not as much, but maybe we're going to finally catch up now. There's quite a bit of catching up to do. That's pretty good news. The miners, bit like silver, haven't really jumped up as much as gold, which suggests it's quite a lot of fear trade, a lot of fear buying gold, not as much into the miners or silver. Probably explains why the dollar's up that much. But some miners, as usual, have outperformed others. Let's look at the DXY. So just to zoom out of this chart I've had for ages, you can see it's just gone up, 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 up. So we took out this descending, pretty important stuff, reached 106. I thought this would be a bit of resistance. Not really. We went all the way up to 107, tagged back down, which proves this is irrelevant. Gone all the way up to 107. And now we've touched this last one here. I've had this line for ages, but never thought it'd really get touched. We touched that. For me, there's nothing until up here. DXY 109.5. Then we start hitting the 110s. Actually, 110 is not even resistance, 111. I'm not going to bother putting these lines in because they should be several weeks away, but the way it's moved, and maybe it's a build up towards, January inauguration. And then once Trump really is in power, we start to see clearly. Already, we know who the Secretary of Treasury, the Treasury Secretary is, and Commerce we might get soon. But once the policies get put in place, and by the way, who's going to be the Fed chairman? Even though Powell stays in for another year, still you might have the next chairman come in and start to indicate the type of policy, type of person he'll be. So the point is, once we start getting close to Trump being in power, what happens to DXY then? But otherwise, for now, extremely strong, hitting this part here. We're starting to look at the next areas, and it's not like it really needs to retrace much. It's already retraced. It already retested 106. So this huge move up here has been accounted for, if you know what I mean. So next move up, you could start to see quite soon. Let's look at euro dollar to get some confirmation. That's flushed this key area, 105. Zoom out of that. There's basically nothing left. It's a vacuum until you get to the lows. Obviously, nothing goes down in one straight line, but everyone's talking about parity. Parity is just here. And I was just checking. Parity is like, I don't know, 4%, 4% away. Let's look at US dollar, Japanese yen, the other currencies to make up the basket, the DXY. What about the highs up here, right? Dollar's strong. How much? 4%. And what is 4% in the DXY? Not that it's all that, represented as it is in the other currencies, but 4% is hitting the, 111 or higher. So you could, if everything starts to coalesce, euro dollar going to parity, US dollar, Japanese yen going back to all-time highs, you could get the dollar DXY going higher. What does that mean for yields? So straight away, the long-term yields, yeah, they've, drifted higher, but not that much, not too much, at least compared to the DXY. And then it's not as strong. Like the close here on Friday wasn't like the DXY was. So for me, it's sort of sideways. Okay, DXY is going even higher. Okay, we'll drift higher to 4.8, which is pretty alarming stuff if you think about it, long-term yields. But it's nowhere near as strong as the dollar or the 2 year. I'll get to that in a second. The 10 year, it's pretty much the same thing as the 30, drifting high. We're at resistance, still haven't broken out. Maybe you need DXY going to 110, 111 to start testing this area. Same goes for the 30 year. But, I got to remind myself, even though they're not as strong, fair enough, they are still pretty damn elevated now, aren't they? Think of where we were a couple of weeks ago. Like this really impacts families across the US and also the world. You've got the other yields going up too, pretty much. But look at the 2 year. The 2 year is stronger, right? Once that's like, look at that close there. That indicates, hey, if we go up DXY, we're going to go to the next level. And this is 2 year, this is the short term. So point is yields not as strong as the dollar, but still inching higher with the dollar, and this really impacts the economy. Forget the financial sector. It does obviously the financial sector, but so yields going up, and obviously the dollar going up. What happens to gold? Well, gold, look at this bounce. We've gone all the way up from there. I don't even know how much percentages that is. Obviously, this was really strong support, 6%. That's like, I mean, the weekly candle is exceptional. Jesus Christ. That's bullish engulfing, kind of. I mean, if only it started from below. That is the perfect, almost the perfect weekly candle. And in gold, you don't get many of those. And it happened to bounce right on support, which coincided with, escalation. Well, it wasn't really an ICBM, the medium range ballistic missile, and the fact that they allowed, Western and NATO weapons to be used to attack technically Russian territory, even though it's Kursk, which Ukraine still kind of hold, but they'll lose. Anyway, the whole thing is stupid. There'll be peace in 2 months, hopefully. So why attempt nuclear war just 2 months before? It's just absurd. But look at this, close at high of day week. For me, first of all, this support bounce was perfect. Like it went through one or two levels, and I thought it would bounce at 2600, but it went straight down. And now it makes more sense in hindsight, obviously, but it's really perfectly ascending. And silver was the same thing. Silver, I think I've shown this already, but silver ascending support was also perfect. It did flush, but that's nice to wash out the people. And then look at that reversal candle. You wash out, you close on a green day. Silver's been very weak, so a retest, a scary retest. Look at that candle, not the most beautiful one. Silver, by the way, nowhere near as strong. I'll get to that in a second. But point is, they both had their ascending support. But look at gold, and that's the dollar going up. I don't mind the dollar going up, 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 as long as gold goes up, as long as silver and the miners go up, to be honest. But gold going up like this, incredible. And I'm not American based. I'm in Europe, and I just took a look. I thought, Jesus Christ, we're hitting new all-time highs. And I mean, I own bullion, but my plan was to buy bullion on the drop, and I was just not fast enough. I didn't think about it. I was looking at the miners and everything. I thought, Jesus, because I routinely buy bullion, and now I'm going to be buying it new all-time highs. Well, that's not great, but I know that long term, not that too many of you care about the euro. Look at that, and you can do in any currency. I mean, you guys know this too. Dollar's the same thing anyway. What about the Swiss franc, by the way? The Swiss franc, which has been butchering basically every currency. I'm not even sure about the dollar, but also new all-time high first thing Monday. So gold is so strong, so strong. And I don't even think some of it is all related, but this is just going to make new all-time highs nonstop. It's just about silver and what happens with the dollar, because the dollar's going up at the same time. So what happens if the dollar falls? This will go straight through the roof. But I don't mind dollar going up with it. I really don't. It's all about the miners and silver though, because that's where a lot of our money is also tied up in silver and the dollar, and the miners, of course. Silver here, best close we've had in several weeks or 2 weeks, let's say. Obviously, gold is all the way up here, right? 33.50 kind of, or $33. Which was a very important breakout zone. If you remember, 32.50, 33. But we're far from that. Like, I think silver needs to catch up. It's probably 5% away, something like that. But if gold keeps going up, which is a bit strange because gold's just gone vertical, so you'd expect it to retrace a bit. But who knows? The point is, silver, good close. Next resistance is going to be 31.50. Actually, I didn't even talk about gold resistance. But then for me, the next resistance on gold is 27.50. We've already taken everything out and we closed a high of days. So I'm not even going to talk about 2700. I didn't have time to talk about it because I haven't done a video in a while. But 2750, and honestly, after that, all-time high, just 2800, 2790. So gold is pretty simple. It's just 2750, and after that, it's pretty much blue skies, because if we go up to 2800, it's only to take it out the same day or the next day. But silver, 31.50, we need to have that little close, 31.56, let's say. I don't know, but I think we should have a nice big pop to 32. Forget this 31.50. Like this kind of candle here on Friday, we didn't have enough time to test this range, but I think we would have just, because we closed really high of day. hopefully we just go straight through this 31.56 and we test 32. That's a bigger resistance for me because it's a big round number. 32 should remind people of sort of breakout zone. Don't know if there's going to be that recent psychology to it. But after that, yeah, then you go straight to 33. There's none of this 32.50 anymore. It's 32, 33. 33, by the way, you got this descending, so it should be pretty just stronger resistance than 32. I almost want to remove this one, but still, we need to take it out on Monday. And then, yeah, all-time highs. So it's quite a way away, though, 10%. But if gold starts to hit, if gold's at 3,000, I'm sorry, silver's back at 35. It's got to happen. But gold has that element that the other industrial metals don't, and that's that pure monetary and fear trade. So that's gold and silver. Let's look at the miners. Starting, you know what? I'll start off with GDX. It makes no sense really to always go to GDXJ. So we had a bounce. Obviously, we should because gold had a nice move, but you've got that silver element to it. And you can see it's not all the way up in the 40s where it should be if it was to follow gold. Now, on Friday, we tested this 38 sort of 50 zone, which you can see we filled the gap. That's a resistance. We tagged it. We came back down. It's a shame of the close, but still, we came back down. Now, it depends, obviously, what you need gold to perform. You can't really have the miners going up if gold is down retracing, unless silver's really outperforming. So, levels on the way up. This zone, 38.60. Next, I've got this zone here, sort of just below 40. You can see why, right? The white lines should always indicate why. The support, the resistance. I don't see 40 as a zone, funnily enough. So just below 40. That'll be your next zone. But for gold for the miners to get there, you kind of expect gold to be testing, 27.50. Next level, then you got that sort of 40.5 to 41. Then you got 42, and then you got the all-time highs. That's quite a lot to get through, though. From where we closed on Friday, bam, 15%. That's quite a lot. Now, for GDX to get all the way up here, your next real level, yeah, you need a nice good day. So otherwise, support I see down here. Is that still relevant? Kind of, yeah. It was the open of this day. It was the low of that day. It was the low of that day. And it was also previously support zone. 37.5, kind of a round number. So yeah, I think these are, and I've gone through this just a couple of minutes ago. I think these levels are correct, but you can see there's quite a few levels to get through on the way up. And if we start to see gold roll over, because it's got a lot of retracing to do, if it does decide to retrace, because it had a nice big move, you straight away encounter 1, 2, and then you don't want to lose this ascending support. You never know because the miners have not been that strong. So that's GDX, and I think Newmont going down doesn't help either. Let's look at, I'm going to do it differently. Let's look at SIL. I never look at the senior silver miners because it's ascending support also. Beautiful. Got its little resistance up here that it tagged a bit like the others. You'll see GDXJ and SILJ have the same thing. This sort of just below 37 resistance. But look at this close at kind of low of day. Think about where gold closed. Right, high of day, high of week, perfect candle. And you got SIL just closing here to make not the best weekly candle, by the way. Look at that sort of reversal candle. So we need to close. You just need silver to react. You need silver now for the miners to confirm gold reaching its all-time high. You need silver to move up. But again, we looked at silver. It looks like it's finally ready to do it. So if silver has a good week, let's even close above 37 and start moving up to the next range, 39. This will be really good for stocks like Pan American Silver. Let's look at GDXJ. Bit like GDX, it tagged its little gap close, just below 49, and then it closed. I don't want to say at low of day, but not exactly a high of day. So you got this little gap close that maybe it's just unique to Friday in the gap close. Maybe if next week we have a nice move, especially in silver, we can finally just go beyond this gap fill level and start moving up to the next level. In this case, above 50, 50.5, let's say. That would be really good, having that 5 hands on GDXJ. Again, on the way down, and I think this ascending support doesn't count anymore, actually. It was good for the bounce, although it didn't even work. Yeah. If you start to come back down, maybe you've got something here, actually. Little gap zone. I'll do it in the middle. This doesn't count anymore. That's what I've got on the way down. That all the way back down here, 46 to 46.5. Let's say 46.5. That's your level. And then the old low, 45. That's what I got for GDXJ. On the way up, yeah, this 50.5-ish zone. This, no, maybe 52, but we're far from there. There. Let's see what happens. GDXJ. Finally, SILJ. That would be the weakest one, wouldn't it? First of all, silver being weaker than gold by far. And then the juniors not being as strong as this. Well, they're not that far off, actually. But this is the weakest chart. The ascending helps. Let's readjust it. There you go. This is obviously great. It went well with gold and silver having their ascending support. This being a level, yeah, we didn't get tested really, but I think it still is a level. Yeah, I've gone through this, so I don't need to really over discuss it. You can see the levels. This is the pre-gap fill, 12.8, 13, that sort of 20-cent zone. I expect some resistance there. This one, you know what? Not really. 13.67, several candles there. This mini gap, also 14 big round number. Also, it's a bit too far to go all the way up to 14.5 from 13.5, I feel. This was a bit of a different, this is a zone, but it's not too precise. That's why I kind of left it there. And then the old time high. But the most important step is to get above this little zone. And they've all got this problem. You know, for SILJ, it's, let's say 12.4. For GDXJ, it's the gap fill, either 49. Let's close above 49 next week, straight away, Monday, hopefully. But overall, it's just silver. You need silver to perform, and then all the miners will finally go up to the next level and start catching up with the gold. Let's look at the portfolio. Newmont. So you can see for it was this 43 point. Yeah, it did go a bit higher. I want to say 43.65-ish. So that was resistance for several days, actually. You could see it was, you know, well, there. It's this zone here. It really is 43.6. So that's your level you need to close above, but really, even a close above that, you just need to start moving towards 45. I think I've actually got resistance at just a bit higher than 45, 45.3 for Newmont, just before the mini gap fill. But yeah, really it's 45. I just think you can go a few cents higher and tag it. That's your next zone. Then I've got this zone here, 46.5. And Newmont obviously has come down a lot, but I do expect it's not the weakest of the seniors. So I do think it could bounce quite a lot. I think where gold is all the way up like here, 52, you know, the equivalent. So it's really underperforming, but you had that supposedly bad news. Next level, all the way up here, 46.5. After that, I got 49, and then you start hitting the 50. 50 is not even level for me, but 52 pretty much. You can see where my resistance is for silver, for Newmont. So that's Newmont. Barrick Gold. Actually, I'm used to it underperforming, but not the worst close there on Friday. First of all, I'll get rid of this ascending. It doesn't count anymore. So this also actually doesn't really count. So resistance, I'm really just looking at resistance here. There's the pre-gap fill. So you got something here, 18.5. Then you've got the post-gap fill, just sort of whatever this is, 18.7. Yeah, that zone. And then you go all the way up to 19.5. I don't really see anything at 19. I don't really see. I don't see anything at 19. 19.5, I see something. Sometimes I can't even explain it. It's just sort of a choppy zone that I expect resistance at. Otherwise, we keep going up. And who knows, actually, above 20, I see 20.3. Who knows? Because if gold keeps going up and starts testing 27.50, the way Barrick's closed, I think we could start hitting the 19.5. You know, it could have a big move up because this, I don't know, I just feel like it's ready to go up to 18.75. This I did expect to be a bit of resistance, so this gap fill and also used to be support. So yeah, 18.75 might be something, but otherwise 19.5 and who knows all the way up here. If we start to test, gold start to test all-time high, I actually expect Barrick Gold to be quite close to its own all-time high. So for once, Barrick Gold, I'm quite impressed. On the way down, I don't know actually. I'm not too sure. I'd probably say something like this. This zone could be something. And then the old low, of course. Right, next one will be Agnico-Eagle. This one, just always good. So that's already tested a resistance zone of 85. You know, you can see that little support there. And there's one or two candles. Well, this candle here, and then obviously Friday's candle, which makes it much clearer. It's gone straight back within its ascending. So its ascending is actually obsolete. So that's no longer support or resistance. It's just going to be, I've got mini levels here before its all-time high. Like how far away are we from the all-time high? From the close, not even the high it did on Friday. 5%, that's just a one good day away from testing its all-time high. So Agnico-Eagle, just always good. Support, well, I might as well adjust it to hit, let's just say it's here, 76. If it comes back down, it's not going to go below. It's just proved to be so strong that I expect support to be just above its old low of 75. So I prefer to move it here. I don't think we're going to get there though, for obvious reasons. This is like a halfway point. Is that still relevant on the way down? Maybe something like this. There's probably something at 78 too. And again, I expect support before it hits its old low. So maybe 78 is more relevant. But yeah, I should be really focusing on resistance before support because it's so strong. But okay, we've got resistance here. The Friday's high. Also, there's something from before. Then you've got these mini levels. They're just almost irrelevant. If we start to move up, they should go straight through, but still I'll mark it because we're so close to all-time highs that just in case gold starts to turn around, there's can't expect Agnico to go all the way up. So these little levels here, just because of these little candles, yeah. 87, big round number. 86, big round number, although pretty small for Agnico-Eagle. And then the old high. So Agnico looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's probably the only senior stock that I can remember off the top of my head that's performed as well as gold. Right, next one. I accidentally deleted this one. Pan American Silver. This one's actually outperforming SIL and obviously SILJ. It's not a junior, but just a little impressed. The close was horrible, but then again, so was SIL. SIL rather. So, but look, at least it tested a bit higher. So I've got resistance as Friday's high of day 23.20. It's really 23 bucks. 23 bucks is resistance. But if we start to see silver perform really well, then I'd expect it to test its Friday high of 23.20. So I'll leave that one there. Otherwise, yeah, I guess you could say I was because I was placing in lots of little cells across all my stocks yesterday. I spent like 4 hours going through all the stocks, not even just the miners, because I've been mobile for a while here. I've just been like moving around, which is why I wasn't able to do a video for several days. But I just went through, especially the miners, and I placed so many cells, and I was a bit unsure. You know, if we start to take out 23.20 on Pan America, do we stop off here? Am I trying to be too cute? Probably am. You know, 23.50. What's the difference between 23.20 and 23.50? Not much. So I didn't. I thought, right, if we go above this and close above it, we're probably gonna do a bit more the next day. You know, something's probably happened. Silver's finally catching up with gold. So then I, as usual, place my pre-gap fill, post-gap fill. I wouldn't be doing two cells. I'd be doing probably just one here. And then because very little percentage difference between the two. Then I imagine we keep going up. There's something here. There's this sort of, you know, look at these candles. You've got a couple tails. But I thought, nah, we'd probably be going up high and strong. Something's happening. And since Pan America's outperforming, you can probably get to 25. And to be honest, if you get to 25, you're probably going to test this level. But I'd probably sell at 25, knowing myself, just to be sure, just a little trim from what I bought. And then you're at the old high. So these are levels I've got. They might be readjusted depending on what's happening in the markets at that time. But for now, that's clear enough for me. Next is Wheaton. Yeah, so okay, that's your, let's just clean this up a little bit. So we're back into the ascending, which I will remove now because that's obsolete. It's done its job. Quite impressed with Wheaton if you compare it to other seniors. Obviously, this is a royalty company. This, yeah, this probably is a level on the way down just because of, yeah, these candles here. So that's probably a level. Then you're hitting your old lows, but it might find support before hitting its real low of 58. So I'll leave this 59 there. No, actually, I won't. So there's your levels on the way down, nice and simple. Where's resistance? Honestly, I don't see anything until here. We know that if gold starts to turn around, down we go, but I don't really see any resistance based on these candles. So for me, clear skies until 66, and then you got basically the old highs. One stop just before 68, and then the real 68.9, 68.5. So that's really all I'm going to do for Wheaton. Yeah, pretty clear. Next one is Franco Nevada, which normally is quite weak. Kind of reminds me of Barrick Gold, but it found its way back into the ascending. I'm going to delete the ascending now. So these, yeah, I bought Franco Nevada here at 114, so that was quite useful. I've actually forgotten where I bought everything. I think I covered it in my last videos just in case. That's, yeah, I think that would still count as a level on the way down. You have that little gap fill also to it. Now here we filled the gap here. You can see that kept going. Nice candle down Thursday. Friday continuation. Not bad compared to the other GDX candles and charts. So even though gold did very well, it's good to see Franco Nevada had a green day also. Next stop for me on the way up is up here, 126, just because of the high of day of this candle. Last time we were visiting this area. And after that, well, you're so close to 130, it might as well be 130. So I got 130, despite the next candle's high being all the way up here at 129. So I'm just going to keep it simple. Those two areas are the next ones on the way up. I don't see us going much higher, but if we do, you got these next two zones. 134 and then the old high, 137. So that's it for Franco Nevada on the way up anyway. And on the way down, yeah, it's just those two. So there you go. That's Franco Nevada. Next is Metalla, which is really underperforming. You can see it's also got the same sort of gap fill resistance. It doesn't have a gap, but you know where the others had a gap. Metalla created its own resistance at 320. Remember this going all the way up to 4. I was trimming on the way up. It came and it was actually quite strong as we came down. Look at this bounce. We were almost, one or two good days away from testing the old highs, and down we went. Bam, flushed, gap down, retested below 3. Didn't think we'd get there. Didn't even think we'd get to 3 after seeing these candles. Bounce, then we started to bounce. But yeah, here we are. Resistance at 320. We need to close above 320. Once we do, it should be a matter of filling this gap. 340. And then we can test the old highs we put in here. If we start to run above 340, I see nothing at 350, nothing really at 360, straight up to 370. And then from there, it's these little white lines, I think. So that's what I see on the way up. We're far from hitting the old highs. We really need silver for that one. But yeah, there's also this one here, the gap fill, and more importantly, where we had resistance this week, 320. Otherwise, support, I see nothing except the old low we put in, You don't want to get down there again. And if you do, it's just remarkable, the idea of testing the old lows. But that's Metalla, really volatile. Not impressed with it the last like 2, 3 weeks. It was really impressive here, but it's kind of disappointing there. That's why you always got to sell on the way up, to be honest. Next one is First Majestic. Now we're looking at the silver stocks. Now, silver. First Majestic did, I mean, where do I start, Okay, nice move up. We had that breakout. We just had the buyback, whether it's true or not, really strong. Then we came down with the metals, the Trump stuff and everything, all the way to $6, which was support. Bought that, very nice. We came up, maybe outperforming some of the silver stocks, 680. Then we came back down again. This is whilst gold's going up. Think about where gold is. So this has actually really been weak, especially if you consider the Friday close. So I've got one level of support. I mean, you could say here, right, 610, but it's the same thing as where we are. Basically, $6 is your level. We're so close to it. You do not want to see some red days on Monday, Tuesday, because this will start retesting $6 again. I don't even know if I trimmed First Majestic. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but it wouldn't have been a lot. if it comes back down to 6, I need to look at the value of, I think it's worth quite a bit. I probably wouldn't buy 6. I'd probably wait for something lower if it gets there. And if it doesn't, fine, whatever. Let's just wait for it to go back up. So I've got 6 as support, roughly, give or take 10 cents, 15 cents. But otherwise, if we really start to flush, then 520, maybe 530 actually. But that would really surprise me if we get there. And that's a serious multi-generational low level. You can go lower, but now if we start to move up, you have to admit 660 is a level. If we go higher, 680 is a level. And after that, we go all the way up to 750. That's what I've got. So you can see my yellow lines. For that, you would really need silver to go up. You really need silver to start moving now to save First Majestic's chart damage. And that probably means gold at 2750 and, all-time highs 2800 after that. And by then, you've got First Majestic running to the old 7.5, and it would really save the chart. You kind of need the metals to do their thing. You need silver to move. That's what you need. Don't need to overanalyze. These are the levels you need silver to do its thing. Otherwise, we may drift and retest 6. Maybe we need that little retest and then a nice hammer, and then it starts to look healthy again. Maybe it's just something specific to First Majestic. Right. Fortuna. I mean, look at Fortuna compared to First Majestic. You see what I mean? Despite silver's weakness. This one's testing its $5 zone. Actually, Fortuna, I kind of ignore it, but it's quite a nice chart, at least compared to First Majestic. So here we are testing $5. Yeah, it was a red day, but not that much. This is actually quite bullish now that I think about it. So let's close above 5, then a quick retest at 530, just below 530, and then you got 550. Pretty simple stuff. 530, 550 after we clear $5. And then you got the gap fill, which we never got to in a long, long time. So despite the big silver $32.50, $33 squeeze, we never even got into the gap fill zone. But now, despite coming down a lot, we look ready for it. So if we start to see silver move, I think Fortuna can finally test its old highs, actually. It looks quite strong, just given what happened this week. So $5, 530, 550, gap fill 585, and then the old high is 630. If we start to come down, I'll just leave the old lows in. I think it won't get there, actually, given how strong it's been, relatively speaking. But if it does, we've still got 420 and then 390 below that. So there you go. Fortuna, it's just horizontals, nothing really to overanalyze. I'm just wondering, can I... Actually, that's okay. That coincides perfectly with the horizontal. Okay. Coeur d'Alene. This one's also done all right, but this one had some good news, and we were doing very well on the bounce despite the Trump drop. So this one outperformed. I remember, especially on this day here, Friday the 8th of November, it was just ready to go higher after a really nice bounce. But of course, the drop just let it back down. But we never went back down too much. But we haven't drifted too high. It's like we've forgotten the good news. But I haven't. And look, we did make a new high there on Friday, testing 680. We closed red, but we know what silver did. So I'm just going to say, look, Friday's high is a level. It's not really a strong one at all. If we start to take it out, then there's something. Then yeah, it's also $7. Okay, so I'll leave $7 as a zone. And of course, the descending, these are really small little levels, and it could go straight through. Just something, not something I'm selling, it's just something I'm watching. Then you got this old level here, let's call it 750. And then you got the old high. And I think one or two good days in silver, and you could be basically 750 or higher in silver in CDE. So CDE is great. It's also, I think it's my heaviest silver miner as usual, besides Pan America. So I'm very happy that it's held up quite well. Now on the way down, if we were to flush, then this is a clear level, $6, just psychological, big round number, hit it many times, just very, very, very clear. If we take that out, 550, just as clear. It's the old low, big round number. It would take a lot to get down there. If we lose that, then there's probably something crazy going on, probably specific to the company, because I don't expect silver to flush to that extent that it takes CDE down. Otherwise, yeah, 520 and then 460, forget it. No need to talk about that. So that's what I've got. It looks pretty good. We just need silver to go up. And what I would really like is a day where gold just goes sideways, doesn't do anything special, like gold down 0.2% and silver up 2.6%. Just a silver catch-up day is what we need. We really need that. CDE doesn't need it as much as others like First Majestic, but still. His Silver Crest, which I'm watching with CDE, absolutely identical twins, almost identical twins. And you can see, I mean, just look at Friday's candle, for example. Very, very similar. So, and they will merge soon. Something I only found out recently. I mean, the idea of watching both charts was by a subscriber, and it kind of makes sense, but they're pretty much identical. So, okay, next one really is Hecla. Yeah, this one, just like First Majestic, weak. Look at the bounce, first of all. Even First Majestic at least had a decent bounce, but Hecla didn't. I mean, we know it had bad news, right? It had bad, I think it was bad earnings, disappointing earnings. I mean, look at the close down Friday. That just means, and look at this obvious support. It's probably not even 530. It's more like 540, but I'm going to do 530 anyway. This entire zone, this 10-cent zone, is supposed to be strong support, but the way we close on Friday, it looks like we're going to test it on any red day and we could go through it. But there's also support on this ascending. So actually, I feel like doing one of these little scribbles where I just say this is, I also want to include this 540 zone. It's basically about 20 cents worth of support. Now it's strong support, but it's a weak stock. So not ideal. And that's with gold having done a massive move up. So Hecla, straight away, I'm looking at the next level. And okay, 440 is definitely a level, but is $5 a level? Not really. I'm going to not put $5 as a level. Obviously, I will know if I'm watching Hecla and it's going down and it's $5, I'll realize, hey, it should bounce here. It's $5. It's a psychological level, but not really a level. I see something more at 480 just because of what happened here. And also here, you know, it gapped down. 480 was something. Here we touched it, but not really. I'm just going to let it be in a vacuum. You know, I'll be watching GDXJ, SILJ, silver, and I'll just remember this. These will be mental notes. I don't want to ruin the chart here. I just want to let it do its thing. But this is very weak. Now, on the way up, again, we need silver. 580. It's just failed there many times. So that's obviously a level. Close above 580. Next level this is this super level, 630. It's where it hit many times. 1, 2, 3, support, even here. So that's definitely going to be something. 630. After that, we've got this little gap zone. I didn't want to do two lines. I did one in the middle. It's probably like 5 cents in between. 665-ish. And then can you imagine what we would need for Hecla to go all the way up here? You would need gold at 28.50 or something, and silver finally hitting 34. I mean, just the way it's weak here, you'd need some specific news. It's really disappointing. But if silver's going to make a run to 35, 40 and all that, this is a fantastic zone to buy because it doesn't matter what's going on. In Hecla specifically, if silver's running up to 35, this will go to $10 or more. So, you know, that's 100% from there. But definitely notice its weakness. EXK, that had, I think it had bad news or something. It dropped. Coffee going cold. But despite this gap down, look at these three candles. This is a little encouraging. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Higher lows. Okay, we closed lower there, but we know what happened to silver. Just after a gap down, this is pretty impressive to hold. So it kind of makes me think, in fact, if I go on the 50-minute chart, this might be a bit too much. It's only these 3 days. It's too little to do any descending. But there's something to this. It's like, well, anyway, if we go up 460, you clear 460 is straight away filling the gap. I'm not going to put 460 as a level because it's obvious and it would just scribble the chart too much. But if you were to close above 460, straight away we fill the gap 480, no question about it. But then you're also encountering descending. So for me, 480 is a definite level. You know, this descending and the gap fill. Then you've got $5. Fair enough. And you got this old level. You can see the tails here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 520, and usually 20 cents after the big round number is your first level of resistance. And then you got the old high. So despite the sort of mini gap down, I think it was bad news. It's actually looking not too weak. So if silver does move, as a lot of them need, this could quickly be at 480. And once you're taking out 480, you're looking at old highs real quickly. You know, from where we are now, that's quite a lot, isn't it? But honestly, it can be done. Now, on the way down, oh, I just feel like completing the picture. On the way down, I'm not going to say there's any support there because there's not really support and it's definitely not strong. But this will be the first one worth taking note of. 420. After that, you got the ascending. Now, if we have any kind of bad day, honestly, EXK could go straight to 420, and then you need to start looking at new lows ascending. So, you know, it's a bit like Hecla. It's like new lows ascending, but Hecla has its support right there. EXK needs to go a bit lower, which but it's still a stronger chart than Hecla, I would say. So Mag Silver, this one, after looking at EXK, First Majestic, and Hecla, this one's one of the stronger ones, you could say. Resistance, I got at $16. Pretty obvious round number, old high. Didn't close at low of day. I think any sort of good day we're testing 16. After 16, 1680, right? And after that, the old highs. This is obsolete, by the way. So 3 clear levels, give it some space, and it could do it. On the way down, the old low, 14, is it 1450 or is it more here where all the candles? I don't know. It's not that weak either compared to the other ones. I'm going to leave it here, 1475. If we flush, I'm not going to bother putting this level, 1450. I'm just going to say this level, which is far, far more relevant. You can see it was resistance here, here, support here. And actually by the time we get there, it might even coincide with ascending support. So don't forget the ascending support. Yeah, that's it. I just want to keep it simple with Mag Silver. It's really not that bad compared to the other ones. So I don't even actually expect it to go down to 1450, but maybe 2 very bad silver days could do that. Let's see. All right, next one. That's done with the silver ones. Aris Mining. This one I left completely alone, but in the end it was technically perfect. So down it went. Actually, this one it didn't care about, so this one I got wrong, but still it would have been a good buy. And sometimes it's hard to get because it's very illiquid. Down it goes, support 370. Bounced off that, went straight to retest prior support, which kind of acted as resistance, 420. Okay, this is the Friday high. So right now we actually closed quite well, especially compared to the other stocks, but this is more of a gold miner than a silver miner. So, you know, it makes sense that the gold miners have done better. So 420, once we can clear 420, next level I've got is kind of here, 450. Maybe just below 450, kind of this zone. Yeah, it's always rough with this one. I'm gonna say this zone. And then after that, it's gonna be the descending resistance. Yeah, around 480. Purely the descending. And then you know what? And then just clear skies. I mean, I could say $5. $5 makes a bit more sense than 480. And then the old high. That's it. Resistance on the way up. On the way down, just let it free fall back down to 370. And I think it would actually find support above 370. Plus, you've got this ascending. So actually, imagine how long it takes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. You've got this big support actually. So I'll just color that in. So one big strong support for Aris Mining. That would actually be a really good buy, I think. IM Gold, next one. Very good, very good. So this one I did buy back and actually it's worth a lot again because I was selling quite a bit of this one. Where do I start? So here it is. We've taken out the descending. I can delete that. In fact, this, I don't even think it was resistance. Next resistance is here, 580, just below $6, 590. After that, we got 610, and after that, we got the old high. Pretty simple. And it's had lots of good news, and it's following gold quite well. So this one, if gold's making new highs or testing its old highs, I think IM Gold will be one of the first stocks to make new all-time highs. I mean, new, 52-week highs, let's say, before gold makes its new 52-week highs. On the way down, it's so strong, I would think that support would be found a bit earlier. So maybe on this gap fill. Otherwise, yes, just below $5, let's say here. So you got kind of two levels. And then, yeah, then these levels. I really don't see that happening. I mean, you'd need gold to give back probably everything since it's bounced and go back to 25.50. There you go. Those are all the levels on the way down and on the way up. B2 gold. This one came down, like all of them, maybe a bit lower than I thought, especially because it's just consolidated down in this area for so long. But down it went. Is that a level still? Let's leave it. It probably is a level, but let's leave it. Okay, so it came back down. That was your support. That's going to be your support on the way down. It might stop, 2.75 before. I don't really care. I'm not actively trading this one too much. I think I bought like a little bit here or even higher. It might have bought it where it is now. I've forgotten. It doesn't. I don't care too much. Resistance should be 290. You can see it was support there. It was also the gap zone there. We filled the gap, came all the way back up, but we had a really good Friday and we're above it. So I think it was resistance, but we just sort of cleared it. So maybe I'm wrong. But it should be like if we were to go all the way up and back down, I'd expect 290 to be a level. So I'll leave this yellow there. I'll give space for this one. I won't scribble too much in this chart. So 265, probably just above support. 290, another level, resistance or support. Up we go. I don't see anything until about 325. I don't see anything at $3. I mean, I did here, but went straight through it. So I kind of think it's been nullified. So I'm just going to say 325, even though that's a huge move from where we are now, right? 10%, it can be done. And then the old high, just that's it. It's probably the fewest amount of levels out of all the charts. Maybe it's just because of the way I'm trading B2 Gold, which is to say I'm not really trading. I'm just sort of holding a long-term position. It came down so much. I added basically every chart, every stock I had. So I added B2 Gold. I forgot where, but I'm not looking to sell it. Maybe the smallest nibble here and there if it gets there, but that's it. Equinox, this one's done very well. Seriously, it's done, and I think it was underperforming at some point. Yeah, like it had a really nice bounce, just like CDE, like IM Gold, and then it had a really horrible next 1 or 2 days. They all kind of retraced, but this one came all the way back down. That was really disappointing. But look how it's done. Look at its Thursday, even its Friday kind of went up a bit. So what have we got? I think it's strong, so I'm gonna look at resistance first. I've got 580. If you can see the little candles there, especially this zone here. Also, we've got this descending. We still haven't fully cleared, on a close basis, daily close basis. So once you clear 580, 582, 83 on a daily close, you can say we're done with this descending. I can finally delete it and make the chart prettier. Move all the way up to 6. I've actually got 610. 610 is basically your level rather than 6. I think I've got a sell in there at 608, a little trim. So I'm going to remove this because we've kind of been there and it's really 680. So 681, 581, 582, 610, and then the old high 650. 580, 610, 650 on the way up, roughly. On the way down, well, it's quite strong. I don't think we go down in one go. I think there's a little gap zone here. And you know what? This is actually not needed anymore. It's done its thing. 530, let's say, on the way down is your first level, and then extreme support zone. We've got the ascending and the old horizontals at $5, and it's psychological. This is a huge zone of support. and then this should be just before it. So that's what I've got. SSRM. Now this one is one of my favorite ones. Obviously, it didn't have the best Friday, but it's really, and this had bad news, right? It had like really bad earnings, and I thought, oh, here we go again. We were just about to start moving up towards the old 7-8 zone. I was finally going to sell everything because my plan is to sell SSRM on the way up and then just disperse all those proceeds across my favorite miners. I don't know, I'd probably do Pan America, I don't know, Agnico, Newmont. I don't know. But anyway, and it reversed straight with that next day was just, I was gobsmacked with the next day. Open at lower day, close at higher day, almost and all the way back up to prior support. And since then, we've moved all the way back up, reclaimed. Basically, we've touched the high, like the day before the news came out. Basically, that's where we're trading, and we took back this prior level. This is actually no longer a level. It should have been, and it wasn't. I need to clean it up almost. This is obviously a zone, right? Like we are retesting ascending support, so that's why I leave that line in case it retests it. So that's one of the reasons it's resistance. We're retesting ascending. We've got this level here that used to be a level before we basically flushed, and it's $6. So extreme resistance, and it was the high of day on Thursday and Friday. So $6 is obvious resistance. If we take that out, and I think we will, any green day in silver, we're just going all the way up to 620. Remember, 20 cents after the unit cross is always the first level. So 620 for me is naturally a level. Plus, it looks like it here. There's several candles. These go higher, but on the opening basis, they're at 620. So 620. And after that, the old high. So you've got three levels. The one we're currently at, I know we closed at 590, but 620, 650, old high, 660, same thing. On the way down, I don't know. Uh, Probably here we've got a couple of opens, closes, and high of days, and it's a round number, and it's a nice middle point between the only level of support that's obvious, which is the old low down here. So I'll just say that, and I'm not going to bother talking about anything below that because I just don't see it happening. So actually, SSRM started off being the worst looking chart since 7th of November, and now it's looking like one of the strongest ones. SBSW, yeah, this is not just gold or silver, but it didn't come down too much, especially for a stock like SBSW, which is extremely volatile. So down we go. $4 is your level of support, really. Let's raise that a little bit, a couple of cents. Just below $4. Now we didn't bounce too much, but palladium, platinum, I don't follow rhodium too much, but the other metals haven't moved up as much as gold. They've kind of been like silver. So, and we didn't have the worst close ever. Normally, I'd say 430 is a level of resistance, but not really. Just one good day, and we're easily past it because this thing cuts through resistance easily if there's any reason, like palladium, platinum going up. So I'm going to say your first level of resistance 450. Big round number. You can see these days here, support resistance. So 450 is your first level. And after that, if we start crossing 450, I'm not going to bother with little things at 470. I know SBSW. I know it go way higher. I don't even think $5 is a level. I think it's going to be the old highs of 520. That's why I've got 520, got 450 first resistance, 520 after that, and then the old highs, which we will get to soon. I'm quite sure 590. As soon as platinum, palladium, for some, to take some metals as an example, as soon as they start to, you know, perform, I think I can see SBSW zooming up. I think we've seen the bottom, $3. And again, we didn't flush that much for SBSW with the Trump trade and commodities getting smashed. This was impressive that we didn't go down like below this level. I thought we'd be, 353. And yeah, any move up, I think we're quickly actually at 590. So three levels, 450, 520, 590. On the way down, it's going to be the old low. Now, you don't want to have SPSW go back down again because the chart immediately looks weak. But I still expect this 390 to $4 to be a level of support. And then after that, that little, in case there's a fake breakdown, You know, you could touch 380 and then close above 395, and then it just looks like a perfect hammer reversal. So these two levels. But yeah, if we do start to really flush this level, 350, big round number, gap fill zone, and then the old low. Right, that'll do. Let's see what happens. We need silver to perform. Gold's definitely done its job. I mean, it's dragged the horse to the water. It's dunking its face in the water, but it's up to the horse to start vacuuming the water, if I can use that analogy. So silver needs to do something. To be fair, the fact that the dollar's gone up so much is probably a reason why the commodities like silver have not been able to rise with gold. Gold's gone up because of the fear aspect and maybe the pure monetary aspect, like central banks buying gold rather than silver or miners. So you do have that, no doubt. And also the fact that nuclear war is around the corner. But I think silver is ready to catch up. And at least the close it had on Friday is a little encouraging. So let's see what happens. But you can see some miners are doing better than others. Silver miners underperforming gold miners overall, but it's stock specific, and that's why it's good to be nimble and have your sells and buys based on the individual charts. So hopefully this session was a little bit extra valuable for some of you. All right, enjoy and good luck.